Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. Minnesota Vikings. Another upset.
Yeah.
Of a 10-point dogs in this one too? Minnesota 27, Detroit Lions 24. Vikings save their season. Moving to 4-4, Lions fall to 5-3. J.J. McCarthy makes his return and makes some big plays in this one for the Minnesota Vikings.
He did. He looked good in this game. And we're going to have, this is going to be ridiculous. The J.J. McCarthy Vikings discourse is going to be a roller coaster for the rest of the year, going from, he's the truth after games like this to, the first time he throws a bad pass. He sucks. Told you I never liked him. It's going to be all over the map. But yeah, he played well in this game. He made a bunch of big plays. I was kind of surprised, after watching the game, and you then look at the overall numbers, I actually surprised how small his numbers were overall. He only ended up with 140-something passing yards at the end of it.
That's a Harbaugh, man. This is a Harbaugh from J.J. McCarthy. 14 of 25 for 143, two touchdowns.
Now,
that's a Harbaugh.
Right. He had more production than that. I mean, early in the game, he put the ball in the hands of Jordan Addison in the end zone. Should have been a touchdown. Addison wasn't able to come up with it. So there were some good passes in there that he didn't get credit for. But this was an impressive performance, both sides of the ball, really, for Minnesota. The offense was good with J.J. McCarthy there. He made some really good plays. And then the defense really showed up, having been fairly comprehensively wrecked the last few weeks.
Yeah, so two stories, I think, here. Minnesota's defense stepping up. I mean, they kind of hung in there in the Week 18 game last year against Detroit, the Sunday night game, but the offense was so bad with Darnold. But for the most part, the Lions had their way with Flores' defense the last couple of years, right? To the point where if Goff got sacked more than once, it was like a miracle, right? They weren't getting to him. He was picking apart their blitzes. They were creating big plays. Sacking Goff 5 times. And again, I just implore the fans, every time a quarterback gets sacked, very rarely, the TJ Watt one was so distinct and quick in the Steelers game. Quick win, strip sack, nothing
clean
the Colts could do, as clean as you get. Most sacks are not like that, which is why TJ Watt is special. He has a lot of just straight up dominant wins and strip sacks, right? In this game, it was the coverage unit. My point is the coverage unit deserves credit for this. You see a hesitation, right? It's the first read's not there. And the Vikings did a good job of meshing pass rush and coverage. It's what we'll talk about with Chiefs and Bills in a couple hours. And so Goff goes down 5 times. If this goes both ways, the Lions had two touchdowns on 4th downs, right? 4th and 1 with David Montgomery. But the 4th and 4 to Sam Laporta, long 40-yarder in there. The Vikings just made life difficult for the Lions offense for the first time in a long time. And I know the Lions eventually scored 24, but it took some, a freak play by Sam Laporta, a really freak play by Jameson Williams, a great throw by Jared Goff. They just made life more difficult for the Lions offense. Stopping the run for the first time in weeks, getting pressure on Goff, making some big plays defensively against the Lions offense. And then J.J. McCarthy, the great pass to Addison that gets dropped, the actual touchdown to Justin Jefferson, and then the game-sealing back shoulder to Jalen Naylor. I mean, those are the types of plays that were the difference in the game here for the Vikings.
Yeah, they were. That was a huge play late on. Again, showing that they had the confidence in McCarthy to make the plays in a situation where you have to trust the quarterback to be able to put the ball in the air in that situation and win the game, ice the game, and he did. Overall, so the interception is it's a little bit behind his receiver, and Terrion Arnold kind of takes the ball away. The Vikings, by the way, are on this legendary run of getting absolutely hosed by replay. On whether it's a play that they've made and it's been called good on the field, or it's a play that they haven't quite made and they take it away, or every replay decision that's happened in the last 4 weeks or so has gone against him on a razor thin edge. And this was it's behind Naylor. He gets a hand on it. He's sort of losing it. And as he's losing it, Terrion Arnold grabs hold of it. And then Naylor grabs hold of it. And they're both wrestling for the ball on the ground with control over it. And you're like, well, that you could make the call that simultaneous possession. You could also make the call that Arnold got hold of it first, therefore it's his. And that's the call that they made. So Minnesota gets the turnover. I will say the one flaw that McCarthy had in this game, I think, is on the move, he was pretty bad. He made the decisions were correct. He was throwing the ball to the right place, just not accurately. And that was a case where the ball was a little bit behind, and I'm not saying it should have resulted in a turnover, but the reason it's a turnover is because it's behind him and Arnold can get back into the play. He had another one where he missed the guy behind on a similar type of play. He had a ball where he's running, he's just on the move and targets Justin Jefferson on the sideline, just airmails it, 3 yards over his head that he can't catch. Like, it was the right call and he just missed it. When he was moving, when he was on the run in this game, he was 1 of 7 or something, like absurdly
The one
bad.
touchdown to Hawkinson.
Yeah, like absurdly bad numbers on the move.
The one thing that he also did on the move was his touchdown run.
Yeah.
That was an outstanding scramble. They had Anzalone coming from depth. Wasn't necessarily in a spy role, but Anzalone, you were just talking about, what he did in a spy role against Lamar Jackson in week 1 or week 3, whatever it was. And he just outran the angle, JJ, on Anzalone, which I thought was a nice little shimmy to free him. A little reminded of Jackson Dart being in the open field. That was so it was a 9-yard scramble by JJ McCarthy to go up 10 in the third quarter on 3rd and 8. That was another huge play for the Vikings in the win.
Yeah, and the flip side of that, by the way, is when he was in the pocket, he completed 72% of his passes, and had a really good performance. It was just when you got him on the move, suddenly his accuracy broke down.
Is JJ going to be like the Bo Nix thing, where there's some good, there's some bad, and
sure,
we're going to live in both ends of the extreme as far as the.
I think overall,
goes.
given expectations or given concerns, given the worry, which was in most of what we'd seen from J.J. McCarthy before this, albeit an incredibly small sample size of play, it was not good. Going up against a Detroit team that had looked fantastic recently and had Minnesota's number for a while. Were they on a run of 5 straight wins or something against Minnesota? Like, this was not a game that you were expecting the Vikings to win and or J.J. McCarthy to look particularly good in. So for him to come out, look very good immediately, the Vikings scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. He was dealing in the first quarter. And for then, their defense to show up and play well as well. Incredible win for Minnesota. Like, this was a game that showed that I think people had written off their season before this game, effectively. For them to win this game, okay, they're still, I think, technically 4th in the division, but 4th at 500. Like, they're still alive and shown that they can beat really good NFL teams.
To go to Detroit and win this game
on the road, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge game for Minnesota. The other play that all but sealed it for Minnesota, or at least made a massive difference, they block a field goal.
Yeah.
24-17. Jalen Redmond gets a sack on 3rd and 14. Jake Bates has his field goal blocked. So this would have brought it to 24-20, and this was before Jameson Williams had that really incredible touchdown, great throw by Goff, where Williams caught it along the sideline and found his way into the end zone. So the field goal block completely changed everything. The Isaiah Rodgers returns it, puts Minnesota in field goal range. So you're talking about, had this gone through, it's 24-20 Minnesota. Instead, they block it, get the long return, they kick the field goal, Minnesota, and it goes 27-17. So 6-point swing here in favor of the Vikings just off a field goal block. So when we're talking like a lot, we spend 99% of our time analyzing offense and defense and what went right and what didn't. This special teams play completely alters the game. And for Minnesota, who was up 10 in the second half, this essentially saved the game for them, even with the Lions picking up that late touchdown.
Yeah, special teams were a huge part of this game. Early on, like, Minnesota was set up in good field position because of a really good return. The Vikings thought they had another huge return touchdown, right? And it was taken off the board because of a holding. Basically, every big return in kick returns in today's NFL, there's a holding flag on it somewhere. Huge shout out, by the way, to Miles Price for the Vikings. He's looking really good as a return guy. Undrafted free agent, I think, this year. as a receiver, like a tiny little guy, 5'9", 180 pounds. But he's dynamic every time the ball's in his hands as a return guy, and is looking like sort of one of the most impactful return guys in the NFL. And then you have the blocked field goal. So like 3 big plays on special teams that went, 2 of them went Minnesota's way. A third one looked like it did, but it was taken away because of a holding call. Yeah, special teams was a big part of the game.
And then the last thing, just to reiterate the throw that J.J. McCarthy made to Naylor to seal it. If you are a J.J. McCarthy fan, you would point to the high leverage plays and a 3rd and 8 scramble for a touchdown, and then the back shoulder that he throws, 3rd and 5, minute 41 left. They're a first down away from winning, and he throws just an absolute dime, 16 yards, first down to beat the division rival Lions, the defending division champions. That's a big moment, especially for a team, that was facing. If you lose, you fall to 3 and 5. We keep rattling off their schedule. Got to play Detroit twice. Got to play the Packers twice. You got to play all these good teams. You got one of the most difficult schedules in the NFL, at least for 1 week here. Minnesota still alive. J.J. McCarthy shows that he can make some big plays when he needs to. And even in a loaded NFC North, Minnesota still alive and showing that they're, as competitive as we thought they would be throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge game for them because I think they showed not just that, they showed that they're capable of beating even the better teams out there. And as long as you're capable of doing that, you're dangerous. Even if you maybe, like, consistency may be a problem going forward, who knows? Maybe J.J. McCarthy will just be good. But you would imagine consistency will be all over the place with the Vikings, but at least they've shown that the high end is there. So theoretically, everything is still on the table for this team this season.
Lions lost starting guard Christian Mahogany. Taylor Decker left the game as well, so some offensive line issues.
As did Palazzolo at various points. He was dealing with multiple things during the course of the game. Looked like he got poked in the eye, and then he had a chest injury on a block. He was banged up. Meanwhile, by the way, like the reverse is true for Minnesota. They had 4/5 of the theoretical starting offensive line in this game. And given Ryan Kelly has dealt with, multiple concussions at this point, you would imagine that's probably as far as they're going to get. But, I mean, that totally changes this team. Getting 4/5 of the starting offensive line in the lineup and staying there is huge. Like, the Vikings looked pretty good up front with that offensive line intact. Aiden Hutchinson still caused, all kinds of problems because he's Aiden Hutchinson. But, like, this was a different offensive line than the last time we saw J.J. McCarthy. And that, it's a material and positive difference for them.
So the NFC North here through 9 weeks. Packers in first at 5-2-1. Lions and Bears both 5-3. Vikings 4-4. So they're all 500 or better. Last 2 years, maybe the most competitive division in the entire NFL, continuing again this year.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.